On December 7th of 1941, we were attacked by the Japanese in an invasion, where they killed thousands of American citizens and destroyed a major portion of our Navy. Their only aim? To kill as many of us and destroy as much of our war materials as they could. Even when they ran out of bullets and missiles, their instructions were to crash their planes into ours, to hopefully do as much damage as possible. As Americans, I can assume that this is a sensitive subject for a lot of you, but this is something that we have to remember if we don't want it to happen again. On this day, Japan attacked the U.S. naval base on Honolulu. According to History.com, there was a lot of destruction and death on this dreadful day. They managed to destroy almost 20 American vessels. They killed more than 2,400 Americans and wounded another 1,000. Not all of the people hurt were part of the Navy, however. Some of them were civilians. This day also had many consequences. It paved the way for the United States to enter the war. It also caused the creation of Japanese internment camps. Even though this pushed us into the war, we had been edging towards fighting Japan for decades. We didn't like the way they were treating China. Japan was acting aggressively towards China for its own self-satisfaction. They believed that the only way they could help their economy was by expanding into neighboring countries. They wanted to attack China and take over its import market. Because of this, Japan declared war on China. One of the atrocities that Japan committed against China was the Nanking Massacre. According to NankingMassacre.com, in this act, they invaded the city of Nanjing, China. They raped anywhere between 40,000 and 80,000 women. They also killed close to 300 Chinese citizens. We had been engaging in negotiations with Japan for months about leaving China, but neither side would budge. But even with Japan's display of savagery, we still didn't think that they would attack the distant islands of Hawaii. These islands lay 2,000 miles away from the U.S. and 4,000 miles away from Japan. With this in mind, no one believed that they would attack the distant islands. Because we didn't believe they would attack so close to home, we left Pearl Harbor open for attacks. We left almost all of our vessels around the port, and we jammed extra aircraft into nearby fields, leaving them vulnerable to attacks. Franklin D. Roosevelt stated, on December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States was attacked deliberately by naval and air forces by the Japanese Empire. We will go on to achieve absolute victory and assert to defend ourselves, to ensure that we shall never be endangered by this treachery again. Japan did manage to destroy or damage almost all of our battleships, but Japan's so-called victory wasn't really a victory, because by that time, battleships weren't as important as aircraft carriers. Because of this, they failed to cripple the United States. To Japan, Pearl Harbor was an irresistibly easy target. In this assault, Japan was trying to keep us from entering the war, but their failed attempt was actually one of the main reasons we entered the war in the first place. So they failed miserably in their objective. With this failed attempt, they inspired our citizens to step up and fight for what's right. I can only hope that remembering how brave they were will encourage people today to stand for what's right.